started. Hello everyone and welcome to another DevTest Community Webcast. Today we'll be covering what's new in CA Test Data Manager 4.0. Our presenters today are the CA Test Data Manager product team. If you have any questions as we're going through today's session, please feel free to enter them into the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. At the end of today's session, we'll also be opening up the phone line for any verbal questions you have. So if you have any questions you'd rather save to ask over the phone, you can just hold them until the end, and we'll open it up at that time. At this point, I'm going to turn the line over to Wilfred Matharanaj. Take it away, Wilfred.
Hi, all. My name is Wilfred Matharanaj. I am a product owner here in the UK office of CA. I will be presenting today with Rama, who is dialed in from ITC, our Indian office, and he will do some of the demos as well, and then I will cover a few other items, and then we'll be finished for today. I wanted to just quickly go through. We have our standard legal statement. So what are we going to cover in the upcoming 1 hour? We want to go through at a high level as to what is in 4.0. Rama will do some demos at that point where what we have implemented to the UI. We will go through the quality remediation work that we have done for 4.0. the data generation work, and the test self-service, what improvements we have done in those areas. So I wanted to then start. Let me talk about 4.0. So I know a lot of you have seen 3.8, 3.6. You've already experienced a lot of the items that we have implemented. When we came to 4.0, one of the items we found is that mainframe and IMS masking was not as good as it could be. So what we have done in 4.0 is we have created a parser that will help you to handle IMS masking, and Rama will later talk you through it as to what experiences we have done, what improvements are in that product. What we are doing now is trying to merge all of those into one single experience so that we can bring IMS customers as well as non-IMS customers, all of them into one item. So this is on plan for this. In the 4.0, we only worked on the IMS specific part. The other change that we did in 4.0, which was the biggest part of 4.0, is the engine enhancement. So publish engine, we have moved from the old data maker publish engine, a lot of the functionality, over to the new publish engine that runs in the portal. We were missing few smaller items that were required by customers and sales. We have implemented those items like being able to select multiple connection profiles or schemas in a single publish, being able to run host actions in a non-blocking asynchronous way. Before, when you executed host actions, the whole thing would block and wait until the host action was completed, but now you can run it in a non-blocking way. We support now publishing to Excel files. We support stored SQL. We support overriding your default values for variables, and even now we have started supporting being able to cancel your jobs that you submit. So if you submit a job and you want to cancel it, you can hit literally on the job ID and cancel that. The third part that is major in 4.0 is quality remediation. So you can imagine there's a lot of items that would fall under quality remediation. And one of the items that we had was the amount of defects that were open, and we want to make sure that we close these defects off. It is always good, and it's also always critical to have new features, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but at some point our defects were causing us more issues to implement the features, so we had to actually take a step back and say, okay, what are the items that we need to close off so that we can start adding new features and add actual value to it. Other items that were in there, being able to manage your projects in the portal, I will take you through it. There is a couple of items that we have done. There is a repeat count field that we have implemented in the tester self-service. There are some changes we have done to the SDM part of TDM, so supporting Turkish local masking functions. We have looked at some of the installation and administration parts, and also now support JRE 1.8. I wanted to then show you guys the portal that we run. So let me just quickly share my screen. We can see the portal. So a lot of the times people ask, how do I manage projects and such? And you can see on the top right-hand side, that's where we start with projects. So whereas on Data Maker it was on the left-hand side, you could see the drop-downs. We have a similar layout, but we have it up here. Now, if you looked at it, when I opened the portal, you saw the last used project. Whatever I use just comes up there. That is the last used project. Makes it easier for people who pretty much work with one project but have a huge list. You can create new projects. You can look at versions under the projects. There's quite a few of them. Rama has even more, I think. So that's basic interface that we will work with. Rama, do you want to take over and start your demos?
Sure. Am I audible, Wilfred?
Yes.
Great. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Hello everyone, this is Rama here, and I would like to walk through the 7 use cases which would cover pretty much the points that Wilfred was talking about, which was handled in 4.0. To start with, for the demo purpose, I have created 2 connection profiles, one test1 to connect to this particular server. The other one is test 10 to connect to this particular server, which I am going to use in my demos. To start with, I have created a project, a bank, and then created few generators which we can use for the demo purpose. And I have registered few tables. These are the 3 tables which I am going to use, which are associated to these generators. So the first use case that I would like to demonstrate is to publish data into registered tables using the default values of the variables. Now I would like to take this generator, which has 3 tables registered to it, and these are the 3 tables which I select to publish the data into. And while creating the rules in these generators, I made use of the variables that are defined with some default values. Some of these variables have the default values and some of them have the functions that are available as part of the data painter. Now I would like to publish the data into these 3 tables. Table count, I just want to keep it as 1. I would like to publish it to one server initially. All the 3 are publishing to one server, and this is the connection profile I would like to use with the schema, and then I would say publish. The job has been submitted and the job is completed. Let us get into the database. This is the server to which I am publishing the data. Initially there is no data in these 3 tables, and now we can see that data is published into these 3 tables. This is another server which I would like to publish data into, but it has no data as of now. The next thing that I would like to demonstrate is to publish data to a different location of the server. So I would like to use the same generator to publish, but instead of publishing to employee table in the previous server, I would like to connect to other server which has the table and use the same generator and job for me to publish. Please note that I am using the default values that are available as part of variables here. Publish the data, the job is completed. Now when we go into the database and see that new records are added to the 2 tables, employee address, employee credit card, and data has been published into employee table of the other server. In this way, we can actually use the same published job to publish to different locations. So the next use case I would like to demonstrate is to use the values that are defined in a generator instead of default values of the variable. For this purpose, I have created a generator and created two values, Richard and Owens, under first name and last name, and I would like to use these values instead of default values while publishing the data. Let us go back, and I am using the generator and publish. If I use the default values, it would basically pick up the default values of the variables. Instead, I would like to publish it to text file and use the values from the generator to publish the data. Now the data is published and the job is completed. As we can see, it has picked up the values that are defined in the other generator which I was pointing to while publishing the data. The next use case I would like to demonstrate is to use a stored column, that is a data that is available as part of the previous publish to be used for the next publish. For this purpose, let me publish the data first into a generator. Publish. Going to use it. File. Text. Publish. These are the values that are published in the first and last name here. I would like to use these values to publish the data. So I go to the generator where I would like to use the stored column values and then define the function using the data painter, that is randLOV function, which would basically pick up the priority publish key list, and from the generator where I have defined the employee details and then publish the data. Publish. File. Text. So this is the name that it has picked up from the previous publish.
Ram, I think Harish just raised his hand. He may have a question.
Okay.
Harish, if you have a verbal question you'd like to ask, you can click #6 on your telephone keypad to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Harish.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. The question I have is, I mean, for these publish actions that you are showing on the UI, is there a REST API in the backend, or is it just the UI piece?
It has an API at the backend.
So all of, I think you showed 4 publish data into tables with default values, another database, publish data into another database profile, and generator to default values, and also data from previous publish to another publish. All this stuff has the API associated as well that we can use from Javelin and things like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yep. Great. Are there any other questions?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah. At this time.
Good. So the next use case I would like to demonstrate is to publish the data into Excel. I would like to select all the 3 tables. Unfortunately, I don't have Office installed on this system, so I would like to just copy it here, open this, and we can see 3 different worksheets with the data published as per the definition. This is as far as publishing the data into Excel is concerned. And the next one I would like to actually demonstrate is the actions that we can define as pre and post. So there are 3 different actions that we can define and use. They are host type, SQL type, and Javelin type. For the demonstration purpose, I have created 2 actions as SQL and host. Let us look at each of these actions. So the SQL action basically talks about executing SQL command directly. And the command that I am trying to run is to update the employee table, connecting the connection profile architect1 and then updating this particular field. I am not associating it to either pre or post. If I would like to do that, then I can actually associate it to either a pre or post publish action, so that the action will be executed either prior or post to a publish. To test it, I would like to just execute it, and the SQL command is successfully executed. We can verify this by getting into the SQL database, and we can see that it has updated the email account with the firstname.name as the company.com, which is what has been defined here as part of the command. In the same way, I created a host action, which is a very simple action just to ping a particular server 50 times, and I would like to test it. We can actually set the timeout. If we want to actually set the timeout, we can actually set the timeout while creating the data. And if we want the action to be completed before the subsequent actions or activities to be executed, then we can actually click wait for completion. And if we want the action to be successfully completed for us to move into the subsequent activities, then we can actually click the checkbox success required. I would like to just test this. I can test the command from here. For testing purpose, I change the value, and it would actually take the precedence than the set value at the back, and I am executing it. When I go to the taskmaster, I can see that ping.exe is being executed. That is, the command is getting executed, and once it is done, it went away. So in this way, we can actually define and execute the host actions. The third type of
question: do you have a list of all the actions supported by the host for the host type? Like ping is one. Are there more, or is just ping?
You can actually most of the actions which doesn't require specific permissions to be executed on the other machines, they are supported. Say, for example, if there is a Rally integration and I would like to execute a job on a particular project in Rally, I can actually define that as a host action. If I have the permissions on that particular project and Rally instance, it will get executed before or after the subsequent activities.
Okay, I see. But there, what you're saying is anything that is common which we have access without the requirement of passing a username, password, or some kind of authentication, it should work. But we can't do stuff that needs authentication.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the third type of action that I would like to go through is the Javelin action. So first we need to actually create an action, in a sense like associate a workflow which can be used for us to execute as part of the action. We have, just for demonstration purpose, we have created a simple Javelin workflow which would create an empty text file. I am creating a workflow here and associating the workflow, saving it, and this would be available for me when I am trying to actually create an action. Publish type of action is what I am trying to create. Action type, and it would show the list of actions that are available for me, workflows that I can actually use. I save this, and it is available for me to get executed. For demonstration purpose, I just executed this, and it has created an empty text file in C folder. This is a simple flow which we have created for the demonstration purpose. So in this way, if we have a Javelin workflow, we can create an action and execute it from the portal. So the other use case, is there any questions we can take it up here, or I would like to proceed with the next use case?
The only question, right? I mean, with Javelin action, right? How is this different from exposing, using the ARD and calling Javelin through the ARD and exposing it as a tile? So, I mean, what is the difference? Like, why do you have to do this as an action again, while we already had a way, right?
From portal, we need, see, how are you executing your Javelin as of today? Like, are you using Javelin directly and then executing it? This is a way of...
Okay, so it's just for another way of running Javelin.
Yep,
right?
That's true. That's true. And you can associate with a pre or post action.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Hello?
Yep. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, can we execute the Javelin flows independently from the TDM portal?
Yeah. So you don't want to associate it to any pre or post actions, but you just want to have a flow defined in Javelin and then execute it from portal, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes, we can do that.
Okay, so in that case, should we create an action here, or again?
Yes, you need to create an action. You need to create an action and then execute it.
Okay. Okay, so irrespective of connecting that Javelin flow to any data pools or any projects, we can any user logging into the TDM portal can directly execute the Javelin flow.
Yes.
Okay.
You still need to be part of a project and have a generator, because you need to actually get into the Actions tab. And then you can actually execute the Javelin flows independently without associating them to either pre or post actions.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So if the flow doesn't have any pre or post action items, can we execute that directly without being part of a project in the tool?
No, we need, this is a project is a context. You need to have a project in the tool, and then when you log in, you need to basically get into a project context and then have a generator associated to a project. From there, you can actually navigate to actions, create a Javelin action, which would basically allow you to execute it.
If you want, if you want to run a Javelin flow all by itself, you can use Javelin as an application and just execute it at any time. So we don't support the other portal. We only support in the portal as a part of an action for your publish.
Okay.
Okay. So if there are any other questions, we can take them, or I would like to proceed with the next use case.
If there are any questions left over from this session, in the interest of time, we'll move forward, but you can feel free to put them into the Q&A box, and one of the other team members will get to them while Rama moves on.
Okay, great. So the next use case which I would like to demonstrate is the ability for a TDE to configure and show the repeat count field in self-service catalog, which will be used as part of publish. So we created a catalog for the demo purpose, and in this catalog we can see that there is no repeat count field available for the tester to use as part of the publish. To enable it, log into the ARD, click on the flow, go to the test data, and on the variable, make it as true, save the changes, save it to the repository, and refresh the catalog, and we can see the field coming up. This was one of the asks from customers, and we made it configurable so that it would be easy for the TDE to configure as required. So the next use case which I would like to talk through is the improved customer experience for IMS masking. One of the major services or the utility that we worked on was to provide an integration service to extract and mask data from an IMS database without having to work on the mainframe directly. So CA TDM FM for IMS integration tool uses CA File Master Plus and to access the DB2 IMS database on the mainframe. It uses the CA mainframe data maker to mask the extracted data. The utility is available as part of the downloadables, and this is the utility. So it has 6 different steps through which we can complete the masking of the data. The first step is the connection profile, which would basically help us to connect to the IMS DB on mainframe system. And unfortunately, we were not able to have the integrated system up, so that is the reason why I am talking through this. And the second step is get remote copybook extract, which would basically allow us to get the copybooks that are available on the mainframe to Windows. The third step is to parse the copybook extract, which would convert the copybooks to .afl format files, which can be understood by the data maker. And once the AFL file has been created, we need to edit the AFL, fix the segmentation info on data maker, and then create the transformation map in data maker. Once the transformation maps are created, the next step is for us to extract the data. This is basically to extract the data from IMS DB to flat files. And the fifth step is to mask the data. This is the step where we will have the AFL and the transformation maps, mask the extracted data from the previous step, and have the masked data available for us to reload into the mainframe. So these are the 6 steps that we need to follow for us to complete the masking of the copybook. And there is a detailed documentation available in DocOps, which would actually help us to go through all the steps for us to complete masking of the copybooks. So if we have any queries, we can take it up here, or I am done with demonstrating the 7 use cases which we wanted to demonstrate.
Ramkrishna, this is Harish. I have a question on the whole, the things for Javelin. So Just a question, generic question on what is the, like, do you have like any enhancements coming up for Javelin, or I mean, what is the current roadmap or focus for Javelin at this time?
So Javelin
as a component, because I mean I see like it is, when I compare it with say AppTest, I mean it's not apple to apple, but AppTest does a lot more than what Javelin does in an easier way. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, I mean, does it have a good roadmap for enhancements? Or I mean, the reason is, can customers file enhancements for it, or how does the general roadmap look like for Javelin as a tool?
So,
do you want me to take it? I can.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah. So we have a specific team that works with Javelin. So me and Rama, we don't have the roadmap at hand, but if you can, I mean, we know your contact details, and I'll talk to Melanie, and then we can put you in contact with the product team that deals with Javelin directly. Yes, they do have a roadmap. Yes, they do have a backlog. They also have a integration plan between ARD and Javelin as well. So I know they exist, but they would be the better people to answer your questions as to the capabilities they're working on.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, then the only other question I had is on the one I typed in the screen. So you showed a few minutes ago, Ramkrishna, you showed that when you are actually repeat count, if you are selecting multiple like repeat counts, let's say if that ARD is actually tied to a Javelin flow to actually execute a Javelin flow in TDM, and I say repeat count, so is it going to trigger so many Javelin jobs, or like, or if yes, is it sequential, or is it like parallel?
So the catalog which I have shown is a catalog that we are going to use for publish, and if you have any action associated to this publish in portal, then it would actually only trigger once. Okay, this repeat count is to basically go through the publish job a number of times. It is not actions. So it is a number of records that you would like to basically publish. This is tester self-service catalog, and Javelin flow execution is a separate action.
Okay, I see what you're, so here all it does is, like, if you say 100, over here it's gonna go ahead and insert like 100 times the data that's shown on the top.
Yep.
Right? Okay, okay. I see, okay. Okay, thanks.
Rama, if you're done, then
yes,
we will carry on.
Yep.
All right, so I wanted to quickly cover two items. So first one was quality remediation. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. We have fixed quite a few defects. As you can see, we had to get a lot of them under control. So having features was good. But what we found is when we don't fix these defects, edge cases, edge scenarios are not being actually addressed. So we always run into trouble in the field. So it was critical for us to make sure that we do not let such defects slip anymore through releases. And moving forward, we will spend a relative considerable proportion of our time getting these defects under control. So any new releases should have fairly good quality for the from a defect perspective. One item I wanted to cover is publish engine improvement. So 4.0, you will see when you run your publish engine how much better it is than what we have been providing with data makers. I wanted to just run a quick demo while I am doing this. Let me just quickly share my screen. I will just kick off the demo. So I have created a data pool in Data Maker, very simple one. I have set the repeat count to 60,000, published to CSV. The same thing applies for if you publish to a database, but for demo time purposes, I put it on CSV so I don't have any conflicts and don't have to delete anything. So if I kick this off in immediate mode, it starts running. I can just save the CSV file to the desktop, so it will start running. Same time, I can, in the portal, I can access the same data pool. It's listed under generator, and you can see simple functions. Again, you can do as complicated as you want. We've tried quite a few of them. I'll come to that in a minute. I can kick off the publish here as well in parallel, publish it to CSV as with the other item, take the table repeat count to 60,000, and I can kick it off. Job is submitted, it will run, and this is what we talked about earlier on, being able to cancel your request in case you wanted to quickly jump it. If you look at submitted requests, where you will see all your jobs, if I switch over to generator, you can see that running. DataMaker is running as well. So while we are at it, let me just quickly step back and show you on the slide. So what we have done in the publish engine is quite a few items actually. So I'm not going to go into every detail at the moment, so if you have any questions, either ping us or let us know afterwards and we can take you through it. One item we found with DataMaker is that everything was done within one big iteration loop. So every single thing was repeated all the time. What we tried to do in Portal now is try to split that up into different stages. So some things can be pre-processed and some things can be post-processed. Just like with pre and post-action, we can split that into different states. Not everything needs to be processed in the main loop. So we try to reduce the main iteration loop to a minimum stage so that we can speed that up a lot more. We have also done how we manage generator duplicates. So how do we handle it? How do we understand and find it? We use DBMS on it rather than using our own implementation because there's already tested. It works. Why not just use what's already available to us in the database? Column references, we do not store all column references anymore. We only store the ones in the main iteration. Variable substitution was the most critical part that we were looking at, whereas before we would take each variable and search through the expression to see where it's being used. Now we go into the expression to see where the variable is, we come back, we look up. It made it a lot faster than us having to check through each variable to see if it's being used in the expression or not. We spent a lot of the time wasting our time because we are looking for variables to exist that don't actually exist. So flipping it the other way around, knowing what variables exist and then coming back made life a lot easier for us on the speed. So doing all this, and I kicked off the simple demo as you have seen, but I've got some information that we tried out outside this demo because we won't have time. So we did like 100-row, 3-column performance for cloning between Portal and DataMaker. And you can see how much of a difference it makes between DataMaker needing an hour to process all of that to Portal doing less than 2 minutes. When you do insert batching, which is a flag that is available in the Portal, but it's by default switched off. So if you need it, you need to enable it in the properties file. You can see how much faster it is from 1 hour to around a minute. We tried it with Oracle and MS SQL, so we haven't tried it with all other databases. We are moving forward, testing all those items out to see where we can make further improvements. And also keep in mind, all these are local databases. So if you are in environments where you have remote databases, the times may not directly apply to you because you are still going to be impacted by the remote connection that you're going to have for your database. Couple of other tests that we have done in the past when we have come across customer bases and where we have here got a couple of information. So you can see the global repeat count set. You can see how long DataMaker took when we did a remote publish. You can see how long DataMaker takes when we do an immediate one compared to the TDM portal. And you can see Portal beats it at every single time. At some point, you can see the remote DataMaker even crashes because publish, it cannot cope with that. So there's a lot of speed improvements that have gone into the portal. You can try it out. It is pretty good. I want to just go back to it again and say portal is still running away all by itself happily. Let me go back and share my screen again. I wanted to just quickly see if, so DataMaker is still running with its publish that we kicked off earlier on. Portal has actually completed already the job. So I can actually get the data. It would be downloaded onto my desktop. And you can see I have the CSV file now. I'm hoping nothing crashes because it's a huge document, as you can see. So it's got 60,000 lines published already, all done, all completed. Portal is happy and finished, and you can start with something else, and you can do anything else, but DataMaker is still running on its own. It will take some time before it can complete. So that's pretty much is it that we want to cover in this session. Any questions on this?
Just a reminder, if you have any questions, you can click #6 on your telephone keypad to unmute yourself for verbal questions, or you can enter your question into the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand corner. We're going to pause for just a moment. We do have one unanswered question in the Q&A box from Steve. The question is, what functionality has still not been ported to the TDM portal? Do we have a list of when DM should be used and when the portal should be used? This would be helpful when designing solutions.
Yeah, so for the majority of the functionality, so what we did was we took the DataMaker functionality, we reviewed all of what exists in there. We passed it via a couple of the pre-sales, sales teams, and some of the customers. So everything that they said is critical for them is all reported over. There are some minor implementations that we have not ported over because no one raised a flag saying they need it or they don't need it. It'll be I'm more than happy. I mean, we do have a list, so I can share that list with whoever, via the community site, so wherever you want. You guys can review it and let us know. There's a very well-defined list at the moment of items that we haven't yet ported over to portal.
Any other questions? Okay, if there are no further questions, thank you everyone for joining. I posted a poll. If you could please take a second to respond and let us know what you thought of today's webcast topic, that would be great. We like to get your feedback in order to see what types of sessions you'd like us to hold in the future. We have another webcast on TDM. It's a TDM and service virtualization integration presentation. That'll be on January 18th, so that's next week. If you'd like to join that, please head to the community and RSVP for that. Other than that, we'll be posting the recording to the community later today, so keep an eye out for that. That will be posted along with the presentation and the Q&A transcript from today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to the TDM product team for giving the presentation today, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.